The storm raged, waves crashed against the rocky shore, wind howled through the night. The old lighthouse stood defiant, a beacon in the darkness. Inside, the lighthouse keeper, Thomas, kept his vigil. He was a man of the sea, weathered and strong. He had seen many storms, but this one felt different. It felt haunted. Thomas continued his rounds. His heart pounded in his chest. He checked the lamp again. Its steady beam cut through the darkness. He tried to focus on his tasks, tried to ignore the feeling of dread that clung to him. But the image of the figure on the rocks wouldn't leave his mind. He paced the narrow hallway. The storm raged outside. The lighthouse creaked and groaned. He felt trapped, isolated. He longed for the dawn, for the storm to pass. He longed to feel safe again. The storm raged on. Hours passed. Thomas tried to distract himself. He read, he paced, he checked the lamp, anything to keep his mind off the ghost. But it was no use. The presence was always there, lurking in the shadows, watching him. He found himself drawn back to the window. The storm was starting to subside. The wind howled less fiercely. The waves still crashed against the rocks, but their fury was waning. He stared out at the turbulent sea, hoping for a glimpse of the ghostly sailor. The storm finally began to recede. The wind died down. The waves calmed. Dawn was approaching. Thomas felt a glimmer of hope. He had survived another night. He had survived another encounter with the ghost. But he knew the ghost would be back. He descended the winding stairs of the lighthouse. He needed fresh air. He needed to escape the confines of the tower. He stepped out onto the rocky shore. The air was crisp and cold. The smell of salt spray filled his nostrils. He walked towards the rocks where he had seen the ghostly sailor. He stood at the edge of the rocks. The sea was still rough, but the storm was over. He looked down at the churning water. He could almost feel the presence of the ghostly sailor beside him. He felt a chill, but it was not a chill of fear. It was a chill of sorrow. He noticed something glinting in the crevice of a rock, a small silver medallion. He reached down and picked it up. It was cold to the touch. He turned it over in his hands. It was engraved with a name. Captain Edward Hayes. The ghost had a name. He was no longer just a nameless apparition. He was a man with a story.